I'll share the post on all the different formats that y'all in. Shabbat Shalom to my brother Isaiah. Educational, then share it. Don't be afraid to share it in different forms. If you're new, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. The channel is D.C.B. channel on YouTube. And what you'll see is the Kai in the middle with the circle in the back with our name, the CHOKMAH, BINAH inside of it. You go there, you subscribe to our channel, create a YouTube channel, whatever it might be. So I appreciate everything that everyone is doing. Thank you, TMH for sharing. Everybody who get on, share on the forum. Even on the YouTube, share it into different rooms and stuff like that. So give me 1 second here so I can see who's in our we got 24 people already. Y'all must have been really waiting tonight. It's great. That's good. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Shemariah, Gaver Kaskuya, Jonah B. Yisrael, Tulip O'Hare, Shabbat Shalom. Hannah Lewy, Shabbat Shalom. Lexus Williams, Shabbat Shalom. And to everyone else that's on that I don't see, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. It's a great day. It's a Shabbat day, and we should be glad and rejoice therein. It's the day that Yehovah have made, and we thank the Most High King for this day. I thank Yehovah for food, clothing, and shelter. I thank Yehovah for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And with the events that happened, you know, this past weekend, you know, the whole Xmas celebration for everyone. Shabbat Shalom, Rishon, Facebook Live. Good to see you, my brother. But if you go to our D.C.B channel, you're going to see the presentation there on, I got 3 parts so far. On Facebook, I got 4 parts to the Christmas and its pagan origins. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, you want to share it with some family members, you could go to that. My brother Zion Lex got the Psychology of Revolution. He did a really good presentation on that. We're trying to do a presentation once a month or twice a month, wherever it might be. Enough of the scholarship. We got to do scholarship, and we have to begin to draw in new people. So what happened is, in our presentation on December 25th, because we don't celebrate Christmas, we talked about Christmas and its pagan origins, and my brother Zion Lex spoke about the psychology of revolution and what kind of mind you got to have to be a revolutionary. And we are revolutionaries in this war. And when we're talking about a war, we're not talking about a war with weapons, but we're talking about a war with the mind. It's a mind revolution. So with that being said, we have to begin to enlighten our people. We can't be afraid to enlighten our people, and we can't be afraid to be who we are and to show who we are. Enough is enough with, being passive about who we are and being scared to show your true colors and what you are. Wherever you are who you are. You are a child of God, and you must walk with that badge of honor and with that pride, because no one else is going to give you that respect unless you take it. So we have to begin to. That's why I'm imploring everyone, if you feel good about what you hear and what you're seeing, share it with people who you think might need it. They might not. What happens with people is that they, at one time or another, what happens is they get, how do you say it? They might not adhere to something initially, but eventually they'll listen little by little, and that's how the process works. Everybody has their own time. I've seen people who I never thought would ever give us an air on listening to the whole origins of Christmas and all that, because they deep in the celebration of Christmas. But I seen them tuning into the Facebook Live feed, and they was loving it. They was saying how enlightening it was, and it really gave them a change of mind. So those are things that we have to keep in mind, that no matter what you might think, you can't be afraid to share this with people, and you can't be afraid to show people who you are, because you are who you are, and that's what it is. Shabbat Shalom, Yerusha Yehuda. Shabbat Shalom. What went wrong tonight? Is everything okay? Is everything okay, Yerusha? I don't know what went wrong. Let me know. I hope everything is well. Is everything well with Adon? I hope everything is well with him and with the whole family. Give a shout out to that whole family. That's a nice family right there. The Yehudas are a nice family. Mostly every family I meet is nice, but that family is real nice. Shabbat Shalom, Nate Jones, one of my biggest supporters. Here go all the thumbs up and all the hearts. Come on, follow up with the hearts. And all my people out there are my biggest supporters. So I'd like to thank the Most High God for all of your lives. And like I said, share the platform on feeds, wherever you are, on the gram, whatever. I don't know if you can share it on Snapchat. I don't know how that works. I got to get to that. But I need someone to, Shalom, Shalom, Naya, Shabbat Shalom to you. Share it on our platform. I don't know. I need someone to control our Instagram. And do people still use Twitter? I need some young people. I need some young people in our congregation. I don't know who's listening to it right now. I know y'all is tuned in with that, but I got my hands on too many things and I can't control them all at once. So that's why I'm asking y'all to share the links, because sometimes I can't, I'm too busy concentrating on posting everything everywhere, and then, I lose it. So thank you the Most High God for this. Thank you the Most High God for life, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Thank you the Most High God for knowledge of self, and understanding that the Most High God is the one and only. Thank God for that. That we don't have all these ideologies in our minds, and that we don't that we not all over the place. So that's a great thing, that we're not all over the place. So we thank the Creator of heaven and earth for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Darlene Richardson. How you doing? And to everyone, shalom, shalom. So listen, tonight we're going to find out about our calendar. The calendar that we use, the Gregorian calendar. And also, we're going to go a little bit into the Hebrew calendar that we use. And what I want you to understand is that a lot of the traditions that we have and a lot of the traditions that we see, they evolve from something else. So a lot of the things that we use in our everyday life, like I had this discussion with someone before, and it was, sometimes what happened with brothers, because we're zealous about what we believe and what we want to stand on. Sometimes we and I'm guilty of it, and we all are guilty of it, so it's no judgment on anyone, but we argue our points. A lot of times we don't have the origins of a lot of the things that we're into. Example, like our vehicles, certain things, everything has a meaning. Like something as simple as Ajax. You think Ajax is just a powder that you use to to scrub, you know, the sink or clean pots or whatever it may be. But something as simple as a name like Ajax, if you do the research on it, it has to do with Greek mythology. So basically, a lot of the names and a lot of the names that we use in today's society is either coming from Greek or Roman mythology. A lot of the names that we got right now come from Greek and Roman mythology. So we're intertwined with a lot of Greek mythology. The vocabulary that we use is intertwined with a lot of Greek and Roman mythology. You know, when you something as simple as like trident, you know, trident was the pitchfork, like trident gum, right? You say trident, but the trident is the Poseidon. If you know Greek mythology, Poseidon had this pitchfork, right, with three teeth on it, and that was his trident. Something as simple as that. If you I believe, what is it? I'm trying to think of some of these things that are a Mazda, right? Like a vehicle. It's the name of a Persian goddess, or god, I mean. So these are simple things like that is intertwined with our everyday life. And my thing is, I don't really judge people. Shabbat Shalom, Shari Alewi, long time no see. But I don't judge people on what they do, because I know that a lot of our society is intertwined with Greek mythology. The names are intertwined with Greek mythology and Roman mythological figures. So I just wanted to give you a rundown on certain things, give you an understanding of what's happening, and also give you an understanding of the celebration that's coming up. And my thing about celebrations is this: the Most High God blessed us with holy days. You know, I keep reiterating this. You know, He gave us the month of Abib, and we're going to get to that. He gave us the month of Abib as the beginning of our month. When we came out of Egypt, He said that should be your beginning of months. Then He told us that on the 14th day, you know, as the sun is going down, it says you should slaughter your Passover lamb and you should roast it whole, right? As a remembrance when we rushed out of Egypt. Then it says on the 15th day, when that sun goes down on the 15th day, shall begin the festival or the feast of CHOKMAH, the feast of unleavened bread. Shalom, shalom, Lena Lene. Good to see you, sis. Then He told us we should celebrate for a 7-day period. So you go from that day, that 7-day period. He said the morrow after the Shabbat, you count to yourself 49 days. So on the 50th day, it shall be to you the feast is the first ingathering. Shavuot, we know it as the Feast of Weeks, right? So that's another celebration. Then it tells us, now, mind you, if we was in our land, those 7-day celebrations would be shut down. We wouldn't be going to work. We wouldn't be doing any of that. So we don't feel the effects of that, because we don't really have a harvest, and we don't really get that 7-day period off unless those are the times you're taking your vacation. Then that's something different. Then the next one is, it says on the first day of the 7th month shall be a holy calling, right? It should be a day of the blowing, right? We know it is Yom Teruah. The European calls it Rosh Hashanah, and he calls it the beginning of months. And they have an explanation for that, but we know that in our calendar, and when we go into that, and I'm going to explain that, is going to be called, the month is called Etanim, not Tishri, right? It was called Etanim before we went into Babylon. It was not called Tishri, and that was our 7th month, which is what we know today as the 7th month, which the Tanakh points as the 7th month of the Hebrew calendar. So that's the first day, the day of the blowing. Then the 10th day of that same month, it says it should be a day of atonement unto us, Yom HaKippurim, the day of atonement. And on that day we afflict our souls. The way that we afflict our souls is by fasting, not by beating ourselves and putting ourselves through the ringer. That's not what the Most High God is talking about. Afflicting our souls. Every time we look at it in the Tanakh, it speaks of us not eating, drinking, and doing any of those things, putting on sackcloth. That's what's associated with afflicting our souls. Then, on the 15th day of the same month, will begin unto us the Feast of Booths, or Sukkot. Now, Sukkot is a remembrance. We say it commands us to build booths in all of our dwellings, wherever we might be in the day of Sporah, and that we should dwell in them, to remind us of how we dwelt in the wilderness, how we dealt in the wilderness, and how we, and the kind of housing that we were living in the wilderness. So we have our established days and the days that we are supposed to celebrate. And then it says you celebrate for 7 days. So that will be another 7-day period of time that we will be off, that we probably wouldn't be doing any work. You know, being that is the last harvest, we probably already have picked up our last harvest. And then it says on the 8th day, it's the 8th day of solemn assembly. We shut it down. It says 3 times in a year shall all male appear and not empty-handed. So those 3 times is Chag Matzot, Chag Shavuot, right? And Chag Sukkot. Those are the 3 times that all males shall appear and not empty-handed. So these are things that we have already in place that we celebrate. So there is no reason for us to take on the heathenistic ways or the heathenistic celebrations. New Year's and all that, all these things have a significance, and that they're all connected with winter solstices, celebrations, and those are things that we can't partake of as the children of Israel. We can't be on 42nd Street, you know, bringing in the new year, because this is not our new year. The Most High God already gave us a season and a time to have a new year. And some people don't like listening to this because they partake of the celebrations. But the Most High God told us, be ye holy, for I, Yahuwah, your God, am holy. I believe that's Leviticus chapter 19. So be separate, because God is separate. It's enough that a lot of us are in the spirit of the season, whether you think it's like when I did in my talk about Xmas. And if you haven't checked that out, go to our www. Go to D.C.B. channel. If you're listening to me on Facebook, on our channel, and you're going to see parts 1, 2, 3 on Christmas and its pagan origins. And you can see the pagan origins of all that stuff. So we I appreciate everyone that's sharing on Facebook Live. So we I'm just saying that things have meanings. And what I'm trying to tell you is that, you know, we got days of the month and they have meanings. And I just want you to know the meanings of these days of the month, just in case you might have not known what the significance behind them and what they meant. Now, we live in a society where when we speaking to our boss, we gotta say January. We're gonna say February. We're not gonna be like the first month, the second month, the third month. I understand that, but knowledge is power, and empowering yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you didn't know about these days, if you didn't understand where these days came from and what they meant and what they stood for in ancient times, So I'm going to bring you some understanding of it and show you, even in our calendar, when I'm going to show you pre-Babylonian exile and after the Babylonian exile, the different names that we came up with. Some names remain the same, some names change, but this is what's going on. Like I said, it's about scholarship now. It's not about hollership. So those are things that I just want us to keep in mind. Those are things that I want us to understand, because it's very important for our edification and for our growth. We got to begin to take this nation to a higher level. And in order to take it to a higher level, you're going to need individuals with higher learning or higher acumen of education to take it to another level. We can't get stuck on the same level. We've been stuck on the same level for far too long. And the excuse is always we run behind the Torah. But God didn't tell us to just run behind the Torah. God wants us to learn. He wants us to grow. The whole thing about this is growing. Growing as people mentally, growing as a nation, and having solutions to the problems that plague us as a nation. So those are things that we have to keep in mind, and those are things that we have to have understanding of. Those are things that we have to grow as a people with, as this people, nation of Yisrael. So, like I said, share the post, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, D.C.B channel, on YouTube, and those are things that we have to begin to do. Listen, you got levels of people out there that study, and we're stuck like in the mud. I'm not telling you that we change our understanding, because our understanding is solid, but don't you want to learn? Don't you want to grow? Don't you want to move forward? Don't you want to always continue to learn? I'm always the type who wants to continue. I learn from every tradition or every culture. Every time I pick up a book or I read an article or something like that, I get immersed into what that culture is. Like right now, I'm into my Viking, whatever. I'm just trying to understand all that and trying to get a psychology of these people. And how was it that they were able to invade Rome and overtake it when there wasn't as many of them as there were Romans? So it's the psychology, It's the psychology of the people. And there's nothing wrong with learning. I learned Greek mythology. I listened to audio books, read books on Greek mythology. I haven't gotten to the Roman mythology that much, but the names are interchangeable. I know that the Romans borrowed from the Greeks, and they just they took, like, I believe, like Venus was Aphrodite. Like, these are all the different things that you could see within mythology. But there's nothing wrong with learning it and being able to decipher it and understand where a lot of things come from. Because a lot of those names are intertwined in our everyday vernacular. So we have to understand that. Couldn't be take the Torah and extract the concepts. We couldn't be, all right. We take the Torah and extract the concept. Yeah, so just keep those things in mind. Before I get started, let me see who's in the room. Shalom, shalom. Can I be heard on can I be heard on YouTube? Can I be heard? Shabbat shalom, Yisrael Bakar, Todia Peloton, Hebrew Sister, Shabbat shalom. Hallelujah, everybody can hear me. All right. Shea Yaakov, All right, Marcia Bryce and everybody else that I might have missed. So my sister Dina and Kayim, are they on the line? Shabbat Shalom, Yemima. Good to see you on the line. Matthew Lewis, everybody else. Cassette Yehuda. If my sister Dina and Kayim on the line, I don't know if they're on the line. I just want to give them a shout out. I don't know if I haven't seen them, but just want to give them a shout out. If he's on, if they're on. Shalom, shalom to you all. You know that's my family right there. So, just scratching my back here for a second. All right, so we ready? All right, here we go. Let me share my screen first. We're going to start with the days of the month in the Gregorian calendar. And I want the people, if ¿qué pasó, hermana Sheila Carvajal? Que Dios te bendiga, mi hermana. Shalom, shalom, Manny. Good to see you on the stream. We're going over the months of the year and the significance of them and what they mean. Lisha Bajin, Shabbat Shalom, and to everyone, Shabbat Shalom. So let me see here. So I need somebody that's on Facebook, and I need somebody that's on YouTube at the same time. That's probably going to be tomorrow. I want you to let me know when I share my screen if you can see it when I'm sharing it. All right. All right, here we go. All right. Can everybody see that? Let me know if you can see that. Let me know if you can see what I'm showing right there. Now, after I do that, then I'm going to show it full screen. Then let me know if you can still see it full screen, because I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm just going to go over the slides. So I need someone, whoever is watching it on both things, that could tell me if they could see. In fact, if they could see it. So can you see now that I share the screen? Can you see it, my people? I just want to know, my people. Oh, hold on. To the people on Facebook. To the people on Facebook. Now, what you got to do is, I need someone to put the link from Facebook. Tamar. It's not going to be on Facebook, but can you put the link from Facebook? Can you put the link from YouTube on Facebook so that the people from Facebook could see the actual slideshow? So I'm going to wait for that. I'm going to wait for you to do that. Please do that for me. And to my people, all right, to all my, all right, so now we see it, right? All right, here we go. So Tamar, can you do that for me? And then when I put the full screen up, I need you to tell me that you can see the full screen up, because I'm not going to be able to see it I'm not going to be able to control the actual room until I'm done with the presentation. So are you on Facebook? Are you on YouTube right now, Tamar? Just let me know if you're on YouTube right now. And you can see the presentation that I'm making and the format that I'm making it. There you go, my sister Lena right there. She put the link to the YouTube for those of you that are watching me on Facebook Live and are not going to be able to see the slideshow. And my sister, LA Talk, and Tamar, and everybody else. So, all right, Tamar, you can see the presentation on YouTube, right? So now, I need you to tell, I'm going to put the full screen on YouTube, and I'm not going to be able to see the reaction whether or not everybody else could see it. So I'm going to put the full screen now. You let me know if you can still see it. Or on Facebook Live, let me know if you can see the full screen. All right. So now I put the full screen. And let me see something here. All right, here we go. All right, we're going to start out with the first month in the Gregorian calendar. We know it as January. So now this is what you see here is a statue. What you see here is a statue of Janus, right? The bust of the god Janus, who was two-faced. He had two faces. Now it says here, January is named after the Roman god Janus. In ancient Roman religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, doorways, passages, and endings. He is usually depicted as having two faces since he looks to the future and to the past. So this god, now you want me to switch my camera on my phone. You want me to go through a lot now, man. Can you see it on Facebook? Can you see it on YouTube? Goodness, man. I had everything situated, and here you go. I don't know what you want me to do here. You see what I got to go through for y'all? I was just doing fine with my presentation the way it was. Having everybody going to I didn't really want to do all this. All right, there you go. That's the best I'm going to do for you right now. That's the best I'm doing for you right now. So that's the presentation. So all right, so on YouTube, I just want to make sure, I need you to go to YouTube and make sure that the presentation is still showing on YouTube. That's what I'm asking you. That is still showing on YouTube. You got to help me out here. Just go to YouTube for a second and then come back to the stream. Just say, yeah, it's working. It's working on YouTube. I see the slideshow on YouTube. That's all I need you to say and do for me. So yeah, it's showing it on YouTube. All right. Somebody say can't see it on YouTube. All right. So maybe I need to get out of the big screen on YouTube. All right, let me go back to my people on YouTube. All right, good. All right, so is it showing on YouTube now? It's showing on YouTube now, right? It's on now. All right, good. So I can't put it the full screen presentation. All right. So here it is. So January. Here we go. Give me 1 second here. So here we got January is the name after the Roman god Janus. In ancient Roman religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, doorways, passages, and endings. He is usually depicted as having two faces since he looks to the future and to the past. So now, this god is the god that the name that the name, the first month of the Roman calendar, the Gregorian calendar, is named after Janus. That's where it gets its origins from. It's the God of the beginning and of the end, and that's why this particular God has two faces, and that's where we get this origin. So that's why I'm a stickler about celebrating all these holidays and all these different times in the heathenistic way, or in the heathenistic custom, because it gets into celebrations and into, these particular months have meanings. And this particular month, we understand why it has the meaning of beginning and end, because it's looking at the past year and it's looking forward to the new year. So basically what it's saying is once we get to January 1st, it's going to be looking at what they were saying is that it was going to be looking at the past, January 16th, if we were still believing in that Roman system, and then it will be looking at the future, which is 2017. So this was the significance of naming the month January. Now, prior to now in the Roman tradition and in the Roman way, they did not, prior to this, they did not have January or February as month. They used to count these months as just dead months because it was the dead of the winter. So they didn't used to have name for these months. The beginning of the year used to start in March. But as we go forward, we're gonna learn a little bit more about that, and then we're gonna see how it lines up with some of the other months of the years as we go forward, and you're gonna get the name of some of these months. Now, all of these months are not related to Roman deities. I got to make that clear. But I do want us to have an understanding of what they mean, the ones that are related to deities. And I want us to have an understanding of also the months that we follow in the Hebrew calendar. So the next month is February. Now, it says here, as y'all could read it, it says, the Roman month Februarius was named after the Latin term februm, which means purification, via the purification ritual februa, held on February 15th, full moon, in the old lunar Roman calendar. So the Romans, what they did on this day is they purged during the month of February. There was like a day of like they used to say, it was a day of sweating out the impurities that you had in your body. It was a lot of rituals and traditions that happened during this time. But it was a day of purge and purification, which had to do with purification. The Roman month Februarius, of Februa, whence the English February derives, is named for the Februatio festival, which occurred on the 13th to 15th days of this Roman month. A later Roman god, Februs, personified both the month, also purification, and is named for them. Thus, the month is named for the festival and not for the god. So, the month is named for the festival and not for the god, because the god was named after the naming of the month, which meant to purify or to purge yourself out or to cleanse yourself out. So just bringing you an understanding of all these things and all these months and the mythical connection that it has, so that us as Israelites will be aware of what's going on. And as the Most High told us, don't partake of the ways of the heathens, right? And for us to have a clear understanding of what is it that we see. Now we understand and know, communicating in this diaspora and in this captivity, that there are going to be certain things that we cannot avoid. And I'm not telling you to go in there and be like, the second month of the year. That's not going to make any sense, especially if you're working in corporate America. Then that's going to be, a little bit tricky. But as Israelites, we could start coming back to our culture and the things that we do and the things that we know. You understand? So these are things that I just want to, make clear. So this is the month of February and where it derives its name from. The next month is the month of March. The month of March. So now, the month of March. The name of March comes from the Latin Martius, the first month of the earliest Roman calendar. It was named for Mars, the Roman god of war, who was also regarded as a guardian of agriculture and an ancestor of the Roman people through his sons Romulus and Remus. His month, Martius, was the beginning of season for both farming and warfare, and the festivals held in his honor during the month were mirrored by others in October. When the season for these activities came to a close, Martius remained the first month of the Roman calendar year, perhaps as late as 153 BCE, and several religious observances in the first half of the month were originally New Year's celebrations. Even in late antiquity, Roman mosaics picturing the month sometimes still place March 1st. So like I told you earlier, the month was originally the first month in the Roman calendar because it was the beginning of planting, agriculture. So he was Mars, where the month March derives its name from. He was the Roman god of war, who was also regarded as a guardian of agriculture and an ancestor. So you can see where they made the connection. The guardian of agriculture, because this is the time when they began to plant their crops. And this is the time when they began to do all these things. So therefore, they associated months to what was going on to them, with them and their gods during that time. And now, March is the time when it begins to get a little bit warmer. So this is the time when they also went out to war. Very seldomly did people go out to war in the winter months. Those are the times when they came back home and regrouped, or they didn't war because it was understood that it was too cold to war. So these were the times when they went out and did raids. These were the times when kings prepared for war. These were the times when all these things happened. So this particular god, Mars, who's also he's the god of agriculture, and he's the god of war in Roman tradition. So next month, April. Excuse the pictures if the kids watching. This is basically just art, but just had to depict where it comes from. So don't mean to offend anyone. The Romans gave this month the Latin name Aprilis, but the derivation of this name is uncertain. The traditional etymology is from the verb aperire, to open, in allusion to its being the season when trees and flowers begin to open, which is supported by comparison with the modern Greek use of anixi, opening for spring. So April, one of the etymological meanings, it means to open, to aperire, to open, is an allusion to it being the season when trees and flowers begin to open. So it's the opening, right? It's the season of the opening. Since some of the Roman months were named in honor of divinities, and as April was sacred to the goddess Venus, right? So April was sacred to the goddess Venus. Now Venus comes down in history. Before she was Venus, she was called Astarte, as it is known in the Tanakh, that the Most High God said that we bake cakes to the Queen Mother of Heaven. That was Astarte. So she, as generations and as different how do you call it empires came about, they adopted some of them adopted the gods of other empires, and they just gave them different names. So by the time it came down to the Greeks, she was Venus, and by the time she got to the Romans, she was Aphrodite, as you see it here in the depiction and the statue and the names that I have underneath there. It says, since some of the Roman months were named in honor of divinities, and as April was sacred to the goddess Venus, her Veneralia being held on the first day, right? She was venerated on the first day of April. It has been suggested that Aprilis was originally her month, Aprilis, from her equivalent Greek goddess named Aphrodite, Aphros, or from the Etruscan name Afru. So they're connecting it back to the original name of Venus, which was Aphrodite, which they adopted from the Greek Aphrodite, right? Or so this is where we get this whole system of the naming of the months and different things, you know. So in one part it says that it came from one word, but then in another part it says it might have originated from Aphrodite, which was basically like the mother of everything, you know, like the mother of beginnings, of opening, not beginnings, of opening, right? So these are things that we keep in mind. Now the month May, as we see here, May. The month May was named for the Greek goddess Maya, who was identified with the Roman era goddess of fertility, Bonadia, whose festival was held in May. So here we have it. This is where we get the name May from Greek goddess Maya. Don't need to stay on that too long. So now we get to the month of June. June, the Latin name for June is Junius. Ovid offers multiple etymologies for the name in the Fasti. So etymology just means like the root or the origins of something, right? A poem about Roman calendar. The first is that the month is named after the Roman goddess Juno, the goddess of marriage and the wife of the supreme deity Jupiter. The second is that the name comes from the Latin word unioris, meaning younger ones, as opposed to maioris, elders, for which the preceding month Mayas may be named. So what they're saying is that they might be different etymologies or roots or beginnings to these particular names, but right here it originally said that it came from the Greek, it came from the Roman goddess Juno, the goddess of marriage and the wife of the supreme deity Jupiter in Roman mythology. It says here, in ancient Rome, the period from mid-May through mid-June was considered inauspicious for marriage. Ovid says that he consulted the Flaminica Dialis, the high priestess of Jupiter, about setting a date for his daughter's wedding, and was advised to wait till after June 15. Plutarch, however, implies that the entire month of June was more favorable for weddings. Man, I got this coughing fit. Then May. So now, this is what we see here. So June has to do with the Roman goddess Juno, goddess of marriage and the wife of the deity Jupiter. The next one, July. Who is July named for? This guy right here. July is the 7th month in the year between June and August. In the Julian Gregorian calendars, and the 4th month to have length of 31 days. It was named by the Roman Senate in honor of the Roman general Julius Caesar, it being the month of his birth. Prior to that, it was called Quintilius. So prior to it being called July, it was called Quintilius, because in when you count in Roman, and remember what I told you, the Roman calendar originally didn't have the months of January and February. So before it was called July, in honor of Julius Caesar, it was called Quintilius, which means literally 5 or 5th. Quintilius means 5 or 5th. So it would have been the 5th month, right? Because remember, the months began in March, right? The Romans eliminated 2 months because they said it was too cold and it was dead. So they beginning of months was in March. So it would have been March, April, May, June, July. Quintilius. That's what the month was known prior to it being known as July, because it was literally the 5th month in the Roman calendar or Gregorian calendars. What we have here, the next month, August. This month was originally named Sextilius, right? Sextilius, you could figure out what that means, right? Sextilius, that means 6. It was literally the 6th month, because we going back to January and February were not part of the Roman calendar, right? They weren't part of that Gregorian calendar, that Roman calendar, better said. They weren't part of that Roman calendar. So this would have literally been the 6th month. It was recognized as the 6th month. But later it was changed, and we'll see when it was changed. This month was originally named Sextilis in Latin because it was the 6th month in the original 10-month Roman calendar under Romulus 753 BCE, where March was the 1st month of the year. About 700 BCE, it became the 8th month when January and February were added to the year before March by King Numa Pompilius, who also gave it 29 days. Julius Caesar added 2 days when he created the Julian calendar in 45 BCE, giving it its modern length of 31 days. In 8 BCE, it was renamed in honor of Augustus. According to Senatus Consultum, quoted by Macrobius, he chose this month because it was the time of several of his great triumphs, including the conquest of Egypt. So the name was named after Augustus, right? Julius. It was named after Augustus because, and then it was given the name, and it was given because it was believed that during that time he conquered Egypt and all these things. So just giving you the origins of all these things and all these months. The month of September now. September is the 9th month of the year in the Julian and Gregorian calendars, and the 3rd month to have the length of 30 days. It is also the month with the longest name. September, Roman month, from Latin septem, or 7. So once again, going back to the fact that the Roman calendar did not have a January and February, this will align perfectly with being the 7th month, and it kept the original name, although now it's the 9th month in the Gregorian calendar, but it kept the original name of its original time in ancient Rome before everything was changed. Was originally the 7th of the 10 months on the oldest known Roman calendar, with March, Latin Martius, the first month of the year, until perhaps as late as 153 BCE. After the calendar reform that added January and February to the beginning of the year, September became the 9th month, but retained its name. It had 29 days until the Julian reform, which added a day. So it's a lot of adjustments that were made. That's why we have our own calendar, our own Hebrew calendar that the Most High God left here for us, and our forefathers left here for us. Now, October is the 10th month of the year in the Julian and Gregorian calendars, and the 6th month to have the length of 31 days. The 8th month in the old Roman calendar, October retained its name from the Latin octo, meaning eighth, right? So in Spanish, it makes a little bit more sense to me. Octo, ocho, septum, seven, siete, it makes a little bit more sense. So I could see it here, right? So octo means 8 or eighth. After January and February were inserted into the calendar that had originally been created by the Romans in ancient Rome, one of three mundus patet will take place on October 5th, Mediterralia October 11th, Augustelia on October 12th, October Horus on October 15th, and Armilustrium on October 19th. These dates do not correspond to the modern Gregorian calendar. Among Anglo-Saxons, it was known as the winter fillet because at this full moon, fillet winter was supposed to begin. So it had different significance and meaning for different groups of people. But just the rest of these months don't have anything to do with any gods. All right. November is the 11th and penultimate month of the year in the Julian and Gregorian calendar. That just means that penultimate just means the next to last. All right. And the 4th and last month to have the length of 30 days. November was the 9th month of the ancient Roman calendar. November remained its name from the Latin novem, meaning 9, when January and February were added to the Roman calendar. So November literally just means 9 in the Roman tradition. In the next month, December is the 12th and last month of the year in the Julian and Gregorian calendars. It is the 7th and last month to have the length of 31 days. December from the Tres Riches Eurus Duduc de Berry. December got its name from the Latin word decim, meaning 10, because it was originally the 10th month of the year in the Roman calendar, which began in March. The winter days following December were not included as part of any month. Later, the months of January and February were created out of the monthless period and added to the beginning of the calendar, but December retained its name. In ancient Rome, one of the 4 Agonalia, this day in honor of Sol Indiges, was held on December 11th, as was Septimontium. Dies Natalis was held of the temple of Tellus on December 13th. Consualia was held on December 15th. Saturnalia, which we spoke about and left last week, was held December 17th to 23rd. Opiconcivia held on December 19th. Devalia on December 21st. Lerantalia on December 23rd. And the Dies Natalis of Sol Invictus was held on December 25th. These days do not correspond to the modern Gregorian calendar. So you see all the celebrations that they had in this month that we know as December, which means 10, and it was known as it was 10 because the Roman calendar only had 10, and originally only had 10 months, and they eliminated. They didn't have a name for January and February. They didn't count those as months. So it shows you that leading up to the winter solstice, they had all these celebrations. And a lot of these pagan celebrations were because of the winter solstice. So these are things that we keep in mind. These are things that we keep in our understanding. These are things that we keep in touch with, so that we understand that a lot of what we see and a lot of what we know and what we get is of pagan origin and is not of us. We live in this society, and that concludes my presentation on. Let me just stop sharing the screen. Stop sharing. So, Shalom. So, just a quick presentation. That was just a quick presentation on. Just wanted to edify y'all on that, just in case you didn't know. Let me just adjust the camera over here for the people on Facebook Live. The people that tune in on Facebook Live. This is Tamar's fault. She want to see the presentation because she. Shalom, shalom, Mervin Boucher. Yeah, so that was my presentation on that. So now for the Hebrew months on the Hebrew calendar, I didn't complete the whole thing, so we're going to have to finish it next week. If I start it now, I'm going to finish it next week, so that I don't leave out us hours. So one thing you have to understand about the, and this is why sometimes we can't get into, let me put this the right way so I don't offend anyone. The first thing I want to say, about our calendar. Just want to say this. Actually, let me move this to the side, because this is not looking good up here. All right. First thing I want to say is this. We have a lot of the months of the Hebrew calendar that don't originate from us. They come to us after we came out of Babylon. And that's just the reality of it. A lot of time I know we get zealous about what we what we believe in, what's right, what's this, what's that, and I get it. And some things we do have to go back to what's ours, but some things we adopted. The script that we use for Hebrew right now is the script that we came out of Babylon with. Is the same script that they use for what do you call it? Aramaic. So Aramaic, the script for Aramaic will look the same way. We didn't create that script. We came out of Babylon with that script, and that's what we use, and this is why they call it modern Hebrew, right? Although it's been around for over 2,500 years, we still call it modern Hebrew. It is what it is. I don't argue. You got the Paleo Hebrew, and that comes from. Let me just hold on for a second. That the Paleo Hebrew script comes from which my brother Zion Lex was on. Let me see. It says Hebrew alphabet, but right here, I'm looking at the Hebrew alphabet. It says, all right, this article is about the alphabet derived from the Aramaic alphabet. 135 common error present for the alphabet derived from the Phoenician alphabet. 10th century BCE. 135 common error Paleo-Hebrew alphabet. That's what I'm looking for. We're looking at the Paleo-Hebrew. It's a variant of the Phoenician alphabet. Like the Phoenician alphabet, the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet contains 22 letters, all of which are consonants, and is described as an abjad. The term was coined by Solomon Birnbaum. He wrote to apply the term Phoenician to the script of the Hebrew is hardly suitable. Still, the script is nearly identical to the Phoenician script. So, even what we know as Hebrew or ancient Hebrew, it was a Phoenician alphabet. We adopted it. You know, it was something we adopted amongst the people of that region. So a lot of the stuff we get into about where this comes from, where that comes from, sometimes it's like it's like pulling hairs, because how does it affect us today? Is it affecting us in a negative way? Is it going to make us worse? We're one of the last nations to come up on the earth. So if we adopted things from other nations, that was just part of us coming up. You know, so just things to keep in mind. You know, sometimes people so now let me go through some of these months and the Hebrew. We got the first. When you get most calendars from a Judaic or whatever, they begin their months in what they call Tishri, what we know as Itanim, right? But we know that if we go to our beginning of months, it says Abib, right? Which means spring, to spring forth. Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. Let me go there real quick. Exodus. First, let me go to Deuteronomy 16:1. It says, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto Jehovah thy God. For in the month of Abib, Jehovah thy God brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt. So, how do we know this is the beginning of months? Because that's when the Most High God said that when he slew the firstborn of Egypt and all of that, he said that this should be to you. And when we were leaving Egypt, he said this should be to you the beginning of months. So let us go to Exodus. (12:2). So this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year. And this is speaking about us leaving the land of Egypt, right? It's talking about the Exodus. And when you go to verse 3, if you go from verse 1, Yahweh spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take to them of every man a lamb according to their father's houses, a lamb for a household. And if the household be too little for a lamb, then shall he and his neighbor next unto his house take one according to the number of the souls, according to every man's eating. So we're talking about Abib. This is the beginning of months, right? This shall be unto you the beginning of months. So we're talking about the month of Abib, not Nisan. Nisan is Assyrian Babylonian origin, right? And we came out of that name when we came out of the Babylonian with that name when we came out of the captivity from Babylon, when we came out of exile from Babylon. So as Israelites and having an actual calendar, which we do have a brother who makes a calendar by the name of Yehoshua, a Danite, and he gets us some calendars. He actually puts the calendar, and let me see if I could show it to you right here, to the people online. This is a calendar from 2 years ago, so I don't know if y'all could see that. So when we look at the calendar that the Jews make, right? When you begin in that calendar, it doesn't start with Abib, right? As this calendar does. See this calendar right here? It starts with the month Abib. This is an older calendar. It starts with the month Abib. Let me see if I can find this year's calendar. I think this is this year's calendar. Yep, this is this year's calendar. So this is this 57, 56. So this is this year. So you see, this is the beginning of the calendar. And then when you open it, it starts with Abib. I wish I had the one from a Judaica, something to show you how their calendars begin with Itanim. But ours begin with Abib. So we do have people, we do have a brother that creates this. I wish there were more people that created this, if we could find a template. Now, I want to assign this to someone out there to create us a D.C.B. calendar. Just like this. Look at it. Look at the template. I don't know if you can find this online. I've been trying to find it, but I can't find it. Or I don't know if it's you got to do some type of work or something. But the brother takes his time and do it. But I want to create one for D.C.B. Right? He always sends us calendars, but you see, this doesn't start with Itanim or Tishri, as they call it. They call the month Tishri. And we're going to get to the meanings of all that. So, you see, we start with Abib. Not Nisan. Nisan is not, we call it the way that the Most High God call it. So, we make that adjustment in our calendars and we put that. Now, there are going to be some names that are going to be similar. And this is what I was saying. As far as sometimes we get overzealous about certain things, but we still, certain things we still keeping in traditions or what our forefathers did when they came out of Babylon. So just to keep those things in mind, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. I'm just trying to bring you an understanding of what's going on and what's happening. The next month, in the calendar, we see it in the calendar that you get from the Judaica, from the Jewish people. That will say Iyar, right? And even if you, and the calendars, if you don't have no means of getting this calendar, and we're going to try to make these calendars, if you have no means of getting this calendar right here, And you could get one from a Judaica, just get the one from the Judaica and make the adjustment. So on the Jewish side, they call it Iyar. We call it the month of Swiv, right? Swiv. So Iyar from Akkadian meaning rosette or blossom, right? So it will be like a month of blossoming or whatever. It don't have no specific meaning that relates to any deities or anything like that. Just trying to bring you understanding on these months. But on in the Tanakh, before the Babylonian exile was called Swiv. And if you go to 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1, if we go there real quick, 1 Kings 6, 1, we'll see what it says. Hope that y'all still with me. I'm not boring y'all. I know some presentations take a little bit longer to come about than others, but I think this is very interesting. 1 Kings 6, 1. Says, and it came to pass in the 408th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziv, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of Yahweh. So during that month is when he began to build the house of Yahweh, in the month of Ziv. When you read it in Hebrew, it will be Zwiv with a W sound at the end. Zwiv with the wow at the end, right? But you know, when Jewish people mention things, anything that has the wow, they put the V sound on it. So it says Swiv. So as you see here, and the calendar that our brother Yehoshua made, Swiv, if you could see that. You see that? Swiv. See that? Swiv. Swiv. So that's the 2nd month in our Israelite calendar that we have, that we created. So the next month is Sivan or Siwan, right? Which is Akkadian, means season and it means time. So, like I said, we came out of Babylon with these names, and as you can see in our Hebrew calendar, or in our Israelite calendar, the name remains. And this is what I said, that, you know, sometimes we make a big deal about certain things, but as much as things change, sometimes they remain the same. So you see it. I hope you're taking notes, or go back and take the notes after the video is done, what we call these months. The next one in the and what we call, quote unquote, the Jewish calendar. And I'm saying quote unquote because we still use some of these names, and some of the days of the month didn't have names in the Tanakh. Some are mentioned, but not all of them are mentioned. So we still adopted some of the Babylonian traditions of how they call the months. Some months we changed it ourselves, and I believe this one is coming up, that the 4th month in the Jewish calendar, or what quote unquote they call the Jewish man's calendar, is Tammuz, was named in honor of the god Tammuz. He's a Babylonian god. So knowing that and understanding that, some of our teachers said that they didn't want to follow in that tradition. So I believe and I could be wrong, but I believe it was Cohen Levy and the people from Shabbat Yisrael. They said they wasn't going for the word Tammuz, and they made a Levitical change. I could be wrong, but I believe it was Cohen Levy, and he named the month Zocher, which means to remember, because they did not want to name it Tammuz, which is a Assyrian Babylonian god. So they changed the name of the month to Zocher. All right. The Tammuz thing was too much because that was the name of a deity. I hope you're learning something today. Every lesson is not super like fiery and exciting, but so here we go. The next month. The next month on both calendars is Av. The name is Babylonian in origin and appeared in the Talmud around the 3rd century. So comes straight from the Talmud. We kept it because Av just means father. Av means father. Both languages, so you see Av. But first mention of it is in the Talmud. You're not going to find that in the scriptures, that the 5th month of our calendar is Av, but obviously somewhere in Babylon we adopted that, Av. The next month remains the same, Elul. The name of the month, like the names of most of the Hebrew calendar months, was brought from the Babylonian exile and originated from Akkadian word for harvest. So Elul in the Jewish calendar and in this calendar remains the same, but Babylonian. So Babylonian descent. It means harvest. Elul. Just edification, just truth, and just bringing facts. All right. The next month in the Jewish calendar, Tishri, right? From Akkadian, Tashritu, beginning, which means beginning, the name of the month in Babylon. So the whole thing with this is, and my brother Zion Lex will explain it better, or somebody else, why they call this the beginning of months. It's because they said it was the time of the beginning of the creation of the earth, I believe. And this is why they call this the beginning of the year. They call this the new year because of that. But we know that the Most High said that this is the 7th month. And the month is called Etanim. And if you go with me to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 8 too. First Kings chapter 8, verse 2. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king at the feast in the month Etanim, which is the 7th month. So it's talking about King Solomon. And so everybody assembled to him on the month of Etanim, which is the 7th month, which is what we call this month. It's not Tishri. So as you see here, It's not going to say Tishri. It's going to say Etanim. Etanim. As you see here. The next month is Kesvan, right? Kesvan in the Jewish calendar, quote unquote Jewish calendar. Literally, Kesvan means eighth in Akkadian. So it will be eighth in our calendar. And Matiti Yahu, I'll call you back when I'm done. Just let me go through this real quick, and then we could talk. All right, my brother. No disrespect. I just want to get through this, and then I'll take the calls afterwards. So now we have Etanim. We did Etanim. So now we don't use Kesvan, which just means 8, but we don't use Kesvan because when you go to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 6, verse 38, it says, and in the 11th year in the month Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, according to all the fashion. So was he 7 years in the building it. So the 8th month is the month Bul in our Israelite calendar, as you can see there. Bull. You see? So we do so after Bull we have, and I promise next week I'll come back and finish all of this. Find you the meanings of everything. We have Kislev. That's the 9th month. Then we have Tevet. 10th month, and we have Shabbat, 11th month, then we have Adar, 12th month, back to Aviv, and sometimes we have a second Adar, depending on what year it is and where we make the adjustment. So I'm going to finish up with that next week. So hopefully you got something out of that if you didn't understand some of these things. To my brother Matit Yahoo, you could give me a call back now that I'm done, and I'm taking calls now. If you want to get an understanding of something, if you want to find out what's going on, what's happening, you give me a call now. The number is 347-622-9090, 347-622-9090. Like I said, scholarship, no hollership, trying to bring understanding of different things so that we could have a different range and different levels of what we do. All right, here go my brother again. Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, shalom, my brother.
Hallelujah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
All right. I just wanted to point out that you said that anybody that knows, like, according to what was I was told about Tishri.
Right.
They basically said it was a fiscal New Year. Because I think about that time we were supposed to let if you had a servant that served you 7 years, and that following that tradition, they usually said that was the fiscal year. That's why they called it the New Year.
Okay.
We both know that they're wrong, but that's the understanding with that.
Okay.
All right, and as far as the calendar goes,
right.
I had put it up on a screen. I don't know if you saw it, but El Zafan Ben More Yosef in the Bronx.
Right.
He might still have the template from his album, you know.
Right,
He's
right.
saying the template.
Right.
He was saying a template. So I said, maybe, I don't know, you never know. I know he still has all of this stuff.
Okay.
So I was just saying that, just to help out a brother,
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
For anybody out there, and I'm making a call to. All right, Torah, my brother.
Okay, Aki.
All right, Shalom.
Have a good Shabbat.
You too. For anybody out there who would like to take on that job of doing the calendar, feel free. Send me a copy of it, but it has to be in this same style. You see? The same way that we follow it. I'll be just like this. Do something. Try it. You gotta take charge of things sometimes. That's how I started out with a lot of things with the editing and doing all that stuff. So now, if you're on the D.C.B channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I still want to know if my sister Dina and Kayam are online. I haven't heard from them in a couple of weeks. I haven't seen them. So if you're online, identify yourself. Give me a call. Say shalom. Also, don't forget Torah. Don't forget to share this on all your social platforms. If you feel like this is something that is edifying, is something that is edifying, and something that you think is will help you, then let me know. And please share it with someone else. So we I'm waiting for calls. If anybody wants to make a call, 347-622-9090. 347-622-9090. That's anybody out there that would like to make a call and would like to chime in on tonight's lesson, or if you would like to help out in any which way to make this whole thing possible with the calendar. I do need it before I be, so we could print it out, so we could send it out to the people. We want to make it available to everyone, to all the people. So definitely, anybody who wants to shalom, Dina. Miss y'all this year. This year was kind of tight, but hopefully we're gonna have that basement straightened out by the summer so Kaim could come up. All right, you know how we do. Either he come up or we send him down. We send him almost down. So just tight. It was just tight during this time. So, but we family. I love y'all. So we so just waiting for somebody to call or say something. My man D is in the building. Shalom, my brother. Good seeing you. You need one in Jamaica? Don't worry. When we get it, Marcia Bryce, when we get it, for all our people that's like overseas and as far away, we're going to send you an electronic copy. That way, when you got the electronic copy, you could just print it out yourself, or you could just keep it on your computer. All right? So that sounds good? That the electronic copy will be out there, and that will be available for everybody. All right? That will be available for everybody. So to all my people online, don't worry about it. So we got that. Marcia Bryce in Jamaica. Okay. Did you say Jamaica? Okay, that's good. How many more people we got listening from overseas? I never be asking that. Sometimes I look at the demographics, and you get like 2 from Guyana, 2 from Israel, 1 from Brazil. How many? If you chiming in from overseas or from the Caribbean or from Central America or from wherever, just write it down where you chiming in from, where you coming in from, so that I will know. So I will know who's following us. So I guess everybody kind of quiet. Oh, Keylon, you in Grenada? You moved back, or you there on vacation? All right. We got Grenada in the house. We got Jamaica. I guess that's about it. Or vacation. All right, all right. I gotta go to Grenada. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna go to Grenada one of these years. So if nobody else got anything else to say, I guess I said it all. Sometimes you get one of those kind of weeks. So stay away from the New Year celebration. In New York City, New Year's is crazy, especially in the hood, in the black hood. Let me tell you what they do here. I don't know if they do it all over the country, but they do it in New York City. Everybody tests out their weapons. And the police go in the precinct for about 3 hours. So people settle their debts, whatever beef they might have. And everybody shoot guns in the air in the black community. So that's what happens in New York City. That's the craziness that happened. So I wouldn't advise anyone in New York City to be out there celebrating with these crazy people. It's a crazy time and a crazy season, and not for us to be out there partaking of all these celebrations. I keep reiterating that we got our own festivals. We got our own time that we could celebrate. And I'm going to keep reiterating that we need to create our own systems, our own educational system, our own hospitals, our own everything, so that we don't fall under this people. So once again, thanking the creator of heaven and earth for life, food, clothing, and shelter. Nobody really has nothing to say. So I'd like to thank clappers in Jamaica sound like guns. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in with us tonight. Don't forget, share the links. If you find it interesting, subscribe to the channel. I shall always have new subscriptions all the time. Share on your social media. If you find this edifying and interesting for someone, don't forget the series that I did on the Christmas and its pagan origins. If you haven't checked that out, check it out when you get off the phone, when you get off the live feed. Share it with someone that's might be into Christmas hard body, and they'll see the pagan origins of it, and maybe it might change their lives. They'll start spending so much money on Christmas. I still got to load part 4 on YouTube, and it's already loaded on Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook, it's already up there. It's the last video that I loaded. And on YouTube, I'll probably load it tonight so that everybody will be able to see it. But listen to those things. Share the links wherever you think is good, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, your Twitter. Share those links and let people know about the pagan origins of Christmas. To everyone, blessed Shabbat night. May the Most High God be with you all. May the Most High God bless you. I see you, Yemima Prescott. May the Most High God bless you and your family. May the Most High God bless each and every one of us that are here today. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom.